Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 6th episode of Cultist Simulator, the Librarian run. Now, I botched the recording previously. I think I was able to recover a backup of where the previous run was. The desktop looks the same, but there was a bit of lost progress. I'd say 10-20 minutes or so. So the way the backups work in Cultist Simulator, usually you're going to be able to find where it was, but my apologies if there's any weirdness in between. I'm feeling a little cranky about that for myself, just because I actually made some progress in terms of my overall health, but we should be in good shape. I am, however, going to try and rush a little bit in terms of making that progress, so talking. I might make a friendship or end one, and part of that's just because we know what we want to do in terms of, you know, Moorlands and all of the other books and such. So, in this case here, really what I'm trying to do is turn as many funds as I can into books, and of course earn enough funds to be able to stay alive as well. But that's going to be our main focus here. Just again, if I feel like I'm rushing through things, it's partly because this is the second time within the past hour or so that I've been doing all of it. So I do need to keep things a little more interesting for myself. What I might do is I might record this video and then do the rest of the week at another time, just so that I can try and keep the playthrough fresh. So I found something noteworthy. Gildersleeve's Latin Grammar, just what you need to refresh your knowledge of Latin. Okay, and we're refreshed from our nap, so we've got 32 seconds left. There's two reasons why dreaming with this is still a good idea. So number one, I get the extra 2 seconds off of it. Now that's not really going to move the needle because this is going to be occupied for that period of time anyway, but it does potentially generate a course of the heart, which will give me an extra vitality, which will make it easier for me to advance my health even further. Next up, we're going to add to our library. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. Now, one of the priorities here, let's say, you know, focusing on Moorlands over, say, focusing on Moorlands over Oriflammes. So Oriflammes was a priority for me because I do not want to wind up in a situation where well, like, there's one of two things are going to happen at Oriflammes. Either I'm going to make the mistake that I made in the previous iteration of this run, and I'm going to miss out on a text, and if that happens, I want that to happen as early as possible so that I can restart and not invest too much effort into something which won't succeed. But the argument for Moorlands, and I think this is the stronger argument, beyond just the fact that it's fairly determinant and I want to, I know I'm going to spend 1 funds and I'm going to get a book no matter what. It may not be a book that I want, although in reality almost all of the books are going to be ones that aren't useful to me because I'm not going to read them. But when it comes to things that will help me out, completing Moorlands gives me the first bit of lore that I get if I'm not going to be opening texts. So essentially, one of two things needs to happen. Either I need to find a text that will be available at both Moorlands and Oriflammes, and if I don't do that, then I need to clear out Moorlands, because that will give me the lore that I can sort of found a cult with and that I can get followers and such with. So that to me is the argument to focus on Moorlands in this run. And I mean, again, like, the fact of the matter is I am kind of dumb when it comes to games like this. One of the things about the game is that it does pull your attention in lots of different places, and so, you know, it is possible to overlook certain events. You know, it's one of these things that can sometimes be difficult in terms of live broadcasting a game, because your attention may be somewhere else, and of course as a broadcaster you'll have an audience to be taking care of as well. And part of the game's design, I think, is to have lots of things going on so that you can potentially neglect important things, right? You know, there's that idea of, you know, somebody who's working really hard on a difficult problem and they forget to eat. And like you hear stuff like that and you're like, come on, really? Like, I know when I feel hungry and that. And then I've been in a situation where I'm really absorbed in my work, usually because I'm very interested in it or I think it's very important. And yeah, you forget to eat. And, you know, hopefully you get your head out of the clouds and you realize, my God, what's happening to me? And you kind of go back to, you know, to normal operations. But I think that's in there for a reason. But of course, again, when you're playing to a live audience, inevitably somebody's going to be sitting there. They have the benefit of your knowledge as well as what they're looking at. And they're going to assure you that you're terrible at playing the game because you didn't pay attention to what's going on there. But anyways, so the fact of the matter is that even stuff like Oriflammes, which I realize in the back of my head is like life or death for this run, you'd think that I would be obsessing over that exploration, but that's just not the way that I play. And so, again, like, I do need to acknowledge that Oriflammes is one of the first hurdles that I need to overcome, and that my temperament is such that it absolutely is the case that I may forget it. Or I may, like, it's not fatal if I wind up opening the bureau file, but it would be kind of cool to hang on to it. So, you know, all of this sort of stuff is going to be drawing my attention, and as a consequence, it's something that can potentially blow the run. So again, like I said, the temptation is to clear out Oriflammes early so that I know that I've passed that hurdle. But I think in the long run, the ability to amass a certain number of followers, to me at least, is the higher priority. Okay. I'm disciplined. I am all discipline. I haven't lasted this long to give up so easily. And read sentimental literature. I've passed the time. I have been inclined to tears and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So we can't do another passion quite yet, but we can double up some vitality. I'm abrim with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I'll benefit. And the temptation is passed for now. So another early goal is going to be to get our reason up. Now, there's a couple of things that can help. The reason is always a tricky one because it depends sort of on what comes up in these different events here, but I'm reasonably confident we can get the ball rolling on it. And we got a lucky course of the heart, and we found The Queens and the Rivers, a surreal contemporary play by the enigmatic Monica Medina, in which the Queens of the Rivers are murdered one by one. So there's only one funds left, so we will start searching the city by foot. Progress, the constant clatter of closing doors, the damp stains on the station walls, the smell of boot polish and unwashed constables. All this narrows to a single crystalline truth. I've made progress and earned myself some overtime pay. So this is nice, right? Like you do want to actually make some progress when going after a target. But maybe not so much that you eliminate any potential followers. So in this case here, I'm going to take my unskilled labor. Now it would be nice to use the strength skill, but the 5 seconds that I would gain off of that obviously doesn't outdo the benefit of just working the site. Right, I found someone whom I might pay to enact regrettable necessities. We won't pay for them. We'll actually go back to Moorlands as soon as I can. But for now, I think one other thing I might do is use I think I might use my passion for another glimmering, because this isn't going to last forever. Night terrors. Slowly, my clenched fists relax. I'll slide back into sleep, but something will remain. The spiderwebs in the corner of the room. I can't remember what provoked that. Anyways, we do have a contentment, so we will tranquilize that. I remember I was different before. I've grown stronger. I've gained health, but it'll be more difficult to gain health next time. So this is good. This is also a bit of an insurance policy against sickness. But let's use our passion next. I'd love to use something like the reason here, but I think I want to have, well, I don't know. We'll see. I do need to continue the investigation, so we'll pick that up as early as I can, but Alright, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So we've got the first of 2 lessons learnt that we'll need. Now, we'll let this run down for a little bit just because it does occupy the study verb and, you know, I don't want this thing ticking down for too long anyway. But let's continue the investigation into Rose. So I could have also used the tentative evidence, but in this case I'm actually going to just focus on Rose for now. There will be... I was debating on saying the reason why I'm doing it this way. I'll see if... Some of you may want to guess, but when it comes up, I'll explain the logic behind pursuing Rose rather than going after the tentative evidence, which will earn me some... well, it'll potentially earn me an arrest and also some extra cash. Alright, clear my mind. The sun still moves, the wind still walks, my journals are the labyrinth clue. Okay, so this one isn't helpful to dream of, but this one is. And we will not hire the entry consultant. I've passed the time, I've been inclined to tears, and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So here we'll double up the glimmering before we lose it. Feed my imagination. The tigers of wrath are wiser than the horses of instruction. If I spend time studying what I've learned, I could increase my passion or gain a skill. Now, had I been thinking, I would have actually gone to Moorlands rather than seek out someone I'm not going to hire. But that's life. As time passes, so unfortunately I'm going to have to use my reason for something else. My investigation has turned up no new leads. So I would love to... I'd love to do another investigation, but I think in this case let's play it safe and do Arms of Bronze. I'm refreshed. Another Course of the Heart. We're going to focus on Vitality for the next little bit. 1, because it's available to me, but 2, I am potentially going to have to resist the Season of Ambitions. And if I don't, then I'm actually going to have a little bit of trouble with the Inspector's position. Because we're going to be down for less than 60 seconds, and Rose is going to be off doing whatever a Rose does. My own heart pumps more strongly today. And better not, I must be careful of the company I keep, so we'll have to recover from fatigue. And there are more windows in my soul, but sunlight is not the only thing that passes through a window. I've gained passion, but it'll be more difficult to gain passion next time. So one of the options I do have, we've got 21 seconds left for our reason. So if I wanted, I can actually use this with the study verb, and we'd still be fine in terms of making sure that we don't open the envelope. But in this case, I am going to double up the vitality just because we're so close to getting our next level of strength. We're already doing the unskilled labor. Okay, so we're going to have some trouble at work. Or potentially have some trouble at work. I was actually a bit surprised. I was hoping for some extra time on this. Here's another who would ascend before me. Independent occultists will try to monopolize the attention of the hours. They may also conduct other schemes, whether you like it or not. And we have yet another Course of the Heart. Unbelievable. Okay, so let's see. I've got my work slot available. So I was kind of hoping for there to be an episode, pass by before we talked about this. But here's the reason why I kept pursuing Rose. It's actually not a bad idea. And, I mean, you can make the argument one way or the other. But in this case here, basically, I don't mind working on Rose because what can happen is I can get a tentative evidence out of that. And if you stack up some tentative evidence, it will help in a situation like this. So I've got 33 seconds left in the inspector's position. We know that it's a bold scheme, so Trace is left by a rival decision to move boldly. So 24.6 seconds from now, Rose is going to do something, and Rose is going to be occupied for a minute. That does not help me at all with my inspector's position. So in 33.3 seconds, I will get suspended, and if I basically don't use passion within 90 seconds, I will lose my position. So the nice thing here is that I can now take my inspector's position, we can use the tentative evidence and the reason, and we can pursue an investigation. And in this case here, that renews the inspector's position, so I can paint or I can do physical labor, whatever it is. But essentially what this does is it frees me up to... Like, I don't need to worry about potentially losing the job. Even in terms of the job, I'm not actually worried about not being able to work as an inspector, but it does sort of throw things off if that 2 funds that I can get for working 60 seconds is suddenly unreliable. If I need to spend 60 seconds in order to get the position back, that throws me off in terms of being able to buy books from Moorlands. And so there's a number of different reasons why it's a good idea for me to keep that tentative evidence around. So again, like, there's a way that I could keep working the tentative evidence and it'd still be hanging around. There's like no problem there. It's not like a slam dunk argument. You could work tentative evidence with Rose on the table and like not worry about it at all. Because obviously working on it, that's going to be 60 seconds that it's that's hanging around. But I don't know, something that just generates extra, something that generates the extra tentative evidence on the board is not the worst thing, I guess. And I may also change things around. So like right now, Rose is at 2, so if it gets up to 7, I think it was, yeah, then you lose. So in this situation here, if Rose starts sort of ticking up, maybe I'll be pursuing the damning evidence a little bit more aggressively. But for now, we can sort of afford to string this thing out. Okay. We've got 51 seconds on that health, so we may provoke another Course of the Heart. I do want to start investing in my reason sooner or later. We'll have to see... I don't know, I'm going to have to work that out, but I found something noteworthy wrapped in the King. Detailed accounts by James Colin Murphy of secret bacchanals and ecstatic dances observed in necropolises and graveyards in southern Europe, in Egypt and in Anatolia. The author is a self-confessed ghoul and eater of buried flesh. He claims to have witnessed the dances while at his feasting. So once again, we go back to Moorlands. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. And rivals considering an expedition. My rival seeks tools and lore for their own ascension. And my own heart pumps more strongly today. So season of sickness coming up. We'll have to give up some of this vitality to heal ourselves. And exercise the body. I'm ready to grow stronger. Use this lesson learned with your strength skills. So, here's what we do. Take the 2 old ones, combine those. I'll use this to heal up my sickness right away. Kitling Ripe and Moldywarp's Grave and Other Stories, a lusciously illustrated tome of loosely connected children's stories collected by 1NK Field. Few of them are remotely suitable for children. Alright. Takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. So once we level up the health, we will, I'm going to pursue the, I'm going to pursue higher reason. This feels a little bad because in 41 seconds I'm going to, have the option of increasing my physique. But again, we want to make some money, so to work then. And we've got the Skeleton Songs, poems of greedy delight composed by the possibly pseudonymous Arbella Dusk, the rumored heiress turned madam turned poetess. We still have some extra money, so let's keep adding to the library. Okay, Rose is back. My rival... no, we've already got that. I guess it doesn't hurt to repeat the line, but... So, no, I don't think we can do another trip to well, maybe one more trip to Moorlands. But we will use the lessons learned with the strength. think I'm actually going to use the reason here. Ooh, that's going to be narrow. I think this can work, but yes, no, this will definitely work. Okay. I found something noteworthy, a collection of poetry. The poet makes himself a seer by an immense, long, deliberate derangement of all the senses, the opposite of wisdom, thankfully. Okay, I'm just moving this aside here, so this will be one for the poetry, one for the essays. So yeah, we're gonna leave the funds alone for now. All I need now is time. So, here's how this is going to work out. In slightly less than 6 seconds, the work slot's going to fill up. Slightly less than 10 seconds, we will use the reason to pursue. Now, actually, in fairness, I can pursue the tentative evidence, or I could pursue Rose. If I pursue, yeah, okay, it's a little gamey, but we'll do it. So, the one worry here is the Season of Ambitions will actually have Rose be. It won't pick up Rose. Instead, it will pick up the tentative, or sorry, it'll pick up the sealed file, at which point I'm going to need to employ reason. Now, in 47.7 seconds, I'm going to get the reason back, so I will have enough even if I'm investigating Rose. But what I can do is I can actually increase the chance of me not even needing the reason in the first place by pursuing the tentative evidence rather than the suspect. So I am kind of running against my usual way of doing things, but in this case, it's worth it. And I am going to pursue Moorlands first. It's time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I find enough books, if I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. Okay, so we work with tentative evidence. Investigating a target, the more reason I use, the better my chance of success. So we'll find out in 31 seconds whether or not I can use my reason again. And we've got Apollo and Marsyas, the libretto of a lost opera concerning the contest between Apollo and Marsyas and its tragic outcome. The librettist is identified only by their initials, RKNJL. And we're a little poor to follow up on Moorland's shop, so in this case we will use our health and potentially provoke a Course of the Heart. I might have found somewhere unusual. So normally I would be dreaming about this. I am slightly curious. Let's try Street Strange by Moonlight. There is a small risk there. And Rose did follow the Season of Ambitions. Alright, the words contain knowledge, now I contain it. It's a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. So one of the important things here is that we still have quite a bit of time available for the lessons learned. So I can actually read whatever's to hand again, because we know that it's Ambitions, Season of Ambitions that's picking up the... Rose wound up getting picked up by the Season of Ambitions. As a consequence, I don't need the reason to resist the temptation to reopen the file. Progress! The constant clatter of closing doors, the damp stains on the station walls, the smell of boot polish and unwashed constables. All this narrows to a single crystalline truth. I've made progress and earned myself some overtime pay. So there's a small danger here in terms of timing. But I don't have the reason for another run with the inspector's position, so we will do our Arms of Bronze action. There may be a bit of weirdness in terms of the timing for the lessons learned, though I'm not sure. Alright, visions pass me with Pavane grace, a window over a wood, a garden of ice, a shivering sun, a woman of glass. I will return home with reluctance. Maybe I should have used the health in this case. Streets are strange in the hour called Menescate. And a rival is at their business in the shadows. They're still in hiding. What exactly are they up to? Almost always this will end inconclusively, but occasionally a rival will manage to increase their power in secret. Consider tempting them out from hiding by leaving an expedition open. Alright, light in the skull is welcome. Let's have a bit of money. Let's go back to Moorlands. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. And we have a season of despair coming up, so I want to avoid anything that will make me sad. Okay, so we're at a fairly critical point for me. It's just worth explaining the order in which things will happen. So this will take 60 seconds. This will get me my third reason. So if I want, I can invest all of it to achieve a guaranteed outcome. Alternatively, I can have one for investigation and one for resistance, and then a spare one left over for studying, which is going to be how I actually use it. On top of that, actually, sorry, there is one small drawback, which is I'm going to have to pick between losing this vitality or upgrading my Arms of Bronze. Alternatively, nope, yeah. And again, I'm actually fine with losing this vitality. Yeah, it's not worth elaborating too much on. But yeah, we definitely want to upgrade our reason. That's the last skill that we're missing. And again, reason is just very helpful for this particular playthrough. It's nice to be able to move up my vitality. It's not a bad default because it's something relatively easy to provoke events for. However, maybe I want to take advantage of this glimmering that's available to me right now. Maybe we'll focus on our passion. I'm not 100% sure. There's not a whole lot of things that I can do for passion other than, well, I suppose more Street Strange by Moonlight. So yeah, if we're losing the vitality, maybe we do reorient towards that. Anyways, we'll sort this out after I get my erudition first. I've picked up odd facts here and there. If I spend time studying what I've learned, I could increase my reason. The curious few, the wrong kind of reputation might awaken the interest of the curious, the puritanical, or the vengeful. I'm injured. I'll hobble painfully home with my wretched pay. Now, I always thought that you... maybe it was the higher level. I always thought that this protected you from this, but it might be that I've always assumed that because of the higher levels. Anyways, we've got a use for this vitality now. And here we will work the damning evidence. Skull, dusty facts have come clear in my brain, for now at least. Okay, so this puts me in a tough spot, right? Because I want to be pursuing both erudition and glimmering now. I think I might be able to make it happen with both, but we'll see. And we have an introduction to the histories. In this case, a 17th century mystic and antiquarian, Claude Herschel, describes divergent incidents in 5 major histories. So here, I am going to risk explore the uncanny tangle of streets by the light of the moon. So here we are going to follow through on Street Strange by Moonlight, just because I have both glimmering and erudition. It would be nice to follow through. Huh. I also don't remember getting contentment from this, but my name just now is clear. Any guardians remain in the shadows, and my rival's mood has softened. Interesting. My rival is observing professional courtesies. I received a cautiously civil letter, although it discusses nothing of consequence. Might there one day be an opportunity for us to join our powers? Occasionally, a rival's resentment may diminish. Interesting. I wish I could do something with this pulsing airs. So if I'm going to make my move with the Glimmering, I should do that reasonably soon. I think we're going to keep pushing the Street Strange by Moonlight, and we've got a Season of Silence coming up, which is nice. It's a little bit of a break for us. Alright, my Mind the Library. I've gained Reason, but it'll be more difficult to gain Reason next time. So, I want to be kind of careful in terms of how I handle this. I definitely need to upgrade the physique first. If I don't, then we lose the lessons learned, so I will grow stronger still. Following that, we have to turn the Glimmering into a lesson learned, but we may wind up with more Glimmering having visited the Street Strange by Moonlight. But we are in... The one thing I like about this position is we at least have the skill for everything. And so it does mean that lessons learned become more important, but it also means that we're able to sort of focus. So one thing that I might do, just as an example in terms of getting my stats up, if I want to be improving my health, well then I can alternate investigation, physical labor, investigation, physical labor. If I want to be improving my reason, I, spam the reason in the study slot. Maybe there's a couple things I can do with investigation, or with exploration, I'm not 100% sure, but we'll set that aside. And then with passion, the other thing that I can do... The other thing is, of course, reason is something I use for investigation, so maybe I just try and spam investigation as much as I can, because that can potentially generate a light in the skull. But even with passion, right, I can just do more passion-oriented paintings, which will give me glimmering and potentially give me lessons learnt. And so instead of alternating between physical labor and investigation, it could be painting and the investigation. So ultimately, at this point, I'm able to pick what I want to specialize in, and as long as I don't wind up pulling myself in every direction as far as the, as far as my influences are concerned, we should be able to get to our not max level, but one less than the max level as soon as possible. Obviously, to get the max level, I would need some lore, and in order to get the lore, I would need to visit Moorlands. But all of that will be happening later on in the week, so I may take a break between recording these. I don't see why that should interrupt the series, so I will see you all tomorrow. But if my tone sounds different, it's because I'm taking... I recorded them at 2 different times. But as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.